Welcome to our fourth video in our problem framing series. Today we're going to talk about problem statements and in particular assumptions. Problem statements are the heart of a problem. It's where we first define what we think might be wrong and then we dive deeper from there. But the problem with problem statements is that they can be laden with assumptions. It's important for us to challenge assumptions, to first identify the assumptions and then challenge them at all costs. Some stuff to watch out for when it comes to assumptions in problem statements are emotions, lack of data, things that are implied, we brush it off thinking, well, everybody does that, or that's completely obvious, so it must be right. The key to deal with assumptions is to ask questions. It's either fact or it's an assumption. So it's important to identify these. A quick way to identify an assumption is to understand how they can sneak into a problem statement. And some of the key things to watch out for are obvious emotions. And we're talking about emotions that are intense. And sometimes this is well covered up, and other times you can see it by the language. So for instance, a team is really bad at doing something, or a team is inexperienced, or saying that somebody doesn't seem to have the right skill set to do a particular job. These statements can be laden with quite a lot of emotion, especially from who is writing the problem statement. If they are close to the problem or close to the results of the problem, then you can expect strong emotion. So when you see that, you need to flag it immediately and highlight it as, this might not be fact, this might be assumption. So we're going to mark that down here and come back to it later. Challenge that assumption. The next thing is a lack of data. This is also obvious in terms of the language that is used. Instead of saying something like the dwell time on our website is down by 20%, it's saying people aren't interested in what we have to offer, or our content is not doing a good enough job. There's no data in a statement like that, and so we can't measure it. And when we can't measure it, we don't know if it's tracking well or not, if it's good enough or not. So that's another thing you need to watch out for. Is there data within the problem statement? If there isn't, we need to challenge that. The thing that can be the hardest to spot when it comes to assumptions in problem statements are things that are implied, or it feels obvious that, of course, this is the source of the issue. It must be that. And I'll give you an example of this. Customers don't like using our app because the interface is clunky. Now, you might be in an industry, or you might be in a group where you develop multiple apps. And the reason for customers not engaging with an app in another project that you had worked on previously or something like that is because the interface was clunky. And so everybody in your team will automatically agree, yeah, that must be the only reason why customers don't want to use the app. It becomes obvious for your team. And that is dangerous because we don't know why the customers aren't using the app. We just make an assumption because it feels like, oh, this definitely is that. It's obvious. It should be that. It's an implied fact. Now that we can identify how assumptions can creep into problem statements and we can now highlight them to get fixed, the question is, how do we start to unpack that? Well, the first thing is to take the problem statement and the highlighted assumptions and to deconstruct the assumption. What does this mean? I'll give you another example. The project manager is inexperienced and so can't get the team to deliver on time. That problem statement has two things that could be assumptions here. One, the project manager is inexperienced, and two, the team can't deliver on time. And then I guess the link as well, it's because the project manager is inexperienced why the team can't deliver on time. So clearly the problem here is the team can't deliver on time. Now we need to ask ourselves why. This is how you deconstruct the assumption. You ask, why is this so? Why do I think that the project manager is inexperienced? Why do I think that the team can't deliver on time? Why do I think the team can't deliver on time? Because it's the project manager's lack of experience. You can also ask, could there be another reason behind this? Is there something that I'm not seeing here? What are the other possible reasons that could make the team not deliver on time, or for me to feel like it's the project manager why the team isn't delivering on time? You can also ask yourself, where is the proof? Get data points to back this up. Look at the project manager's experience, look at the past projects that they had worked on before or delivered against before. Do they have a track record of success, or do they have a track record of failure with their other projects? Now look at this project team. What else could be? Are they not delivering on time? Why do we think so? How often do they deliver? What is the velocity that they deliver at? What is the quality that they deliver at? Are they working on something that's probably taking a little bit longer now because it's innovative, it's new? You need to deep dive into these things. You need to deep dive into these points so that you can start to extract data and then measure against that data to see if the problem statement is in fact true or if it's laden with assumptions. Another thing that you can do to test the assumptions in your problem statement is to get an outside view. Ask somebody who is not as close to the problem as you are, somebody outside of the team, somebody outside of the company if you're able to do that. It's important to get a stance that is not affected by the current affairs of the problem, because you will get less bias and that person will be able to look at the problem with fresh eyes and be able to highlight what might be an assumption. They may also ask you questions to clarify, and those clarifying questions will uncover the additional points you need to really know if this problem statement is in fact correct. Now, assumptions is just one of many things that can be wrong with problem statements. It is one of the most important things I feel that we need to watch out for when we are creating a new proposition or stating what a problem is, defining that problem. In testing assumptions, it will force us to reframe our problem. So ensure that you identify what could be assumptions and really dig hard to get data points to back it up so that you can prove that it's not an assumption, that you get another person's outside view to challenge the assumption, and also to look to see if there are any emotions clouding the problem statement. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please click the subscribe button. Thanks for joining us on this video, and I'll see you in the next one.